Uh,
I guess I'll introduce myself first. I'm Wolfblade EJ89, kind of known as the OG runner from years and years ago.
I'm Raccoon Akiba. I just grew up with this game with the original, and I love it to death. And I played hundreds of hours with it with friends, and now I enjoy speedrunning one of the other categories for the game.
My name is Pogan, and I do it sometimes. Play the game sometimes.
uh,
One of your followers in here, Wolf. Go ahead.
I'm taking the demons, better known as demons, on speedrun.com. I have a few world records in the cheats categories because I'm a dirty cheater. But yeah.
And it's me, Kenuck. I am the avid runner of this game. I've been running it for about 10 months now, and I don't know, I fell in love with it. I bought it, I think, 3 times the moment it came out, and I've just been playing it ever since, and I'm extremely happy that I finally get to show off the Any Percent New Game Plus category after all the work that we've done on this game. It was thought impossible at one point to get sub 30, and just from the work from the community, myself and everybody else, we were able to push that even further down. And I'm super excited to show it off to you guys. This game is, even though it's a beat 'em up, sometimes you just gotta, skip the beat 'em up part and have some fun with it. So there's a lot of stuff that I gotta focus on, just because I will be out of bounds and I will be navigating the stages basically on cues and sounds. So the couch that I have, or my friend's wife and everybody that are here, are gonna kind of help go through the explanation of what's going on, so you guys aren't so lost about it. So without further ado, I'm going to get this run started, and we're going to have a blast. So, and I'm having a Tim Hortons moment right now. So the run will be starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
And so as we enter stage 1, the big thing about Ramona and why we pick her is going to be about her assist in this game. Every character gets 1 assist naturally. With Ramona, she is able to go into what most of us refer to as hyper mode. The game refers to it officially as something else, I don't remember. But basically it improves your speed and, yeah, mostly just your speed with everything. Between your movement, your animations, everything is just faster. And so doing that at the very beginning of the stage, you'll see he actually moved up to the side of the screen. And that's going to allow us to clip out of bounds by basically going up, right, up, right, up, right. And from there, we can just run through this entire stage. So at this point, he's basically running through the entire stage because the whole stage is spawned, but the camera is just locked at this point. And since it's locked at this point, none of the enemies are spawning in either, because he's not hitting the triggers for those enemies to spawn in. You'll be seeing a lot of this as we go in, and that's the sound cue that we just got, seeing that we entered into the subspace highways, which are going to be for what we go for skipping parts of stages and going to the boss room. So we're already done with the first stage, going into the boss of it, which is Matthew Patel. We're going to beat him with a stool.
It's fun hitting him with the stool. I like it.
Yeah, the stool is always the best method. It's my favorite method, personally. And
it's a very deadly weapon. Not a lot of people know that.
If I can pick it up.
Pick it up. Hit him with it. Yeah.
And so this is actually interesting too, because one of the other main categories for this game is boss rush, and the strats for boss rush versus the story mode are at times very different, and at other times very similar, so it just depends on the boss. But in boss rush, you don't have those objects in the stage, so you actually just go beat them up with a nice aggressive combo.
Yeah, Dino asked, is this a blind run?
I have done.
That's why I don't like.
I have done stage 1 blindfolded before. I couldn't do it again, but I did it one time and it was great.
I don't remember hearing about that.
You made it up to like stage 4, didn't you?
No, I never got out of stage 1.
Oh, I thought you did.
So stage 2 is a lot more calm, and I don't have to rush an explanation as much, so I'll let somebody else handle this.
Oh dear.
Oh,
These
I hate
by
these
far,
camera guys.
I feel like are the worst in the
These
entire
camera
game.
guys are so mean.
Because
Yeah,
they
the
soft
camera
lock
guys
you.
are awful.
They just, they'll stun you repeatedly and cause problems. So normally on this this part of the stage, you just wait for these enemies to cross. You can kill them to make it move a little faster, but
He's
as
gotta
you see,
move into the pit so you can get the
Yeah.
key.
Yeah, this stage uses a lot more doors to progress the stage, so we can't just skip through the entirety of the level.
It's weird how there's different rooms.
What?
Would just like to state that I'm a little bit nervous here, so screw ups abound. With this stage in particular, this one has actually the shortest out of bounds. Just simply because there's a key that you need to unlock the gate, and obviously blind navigating is a little bit difficult at times. So by falling down into a pit, it actually spawns you right on the key when you return, and by doing that, you can basically pick up the key out of bounds and then just throw it into the gate, and it unlocks, and there you go. And
so the good thing about this stage as well is with the assist you can get hyper, but because of the way enemies spawn in with their low health, it's also easy to get it from enemies, as the natural way to get it is to hit, 4 enemies in a row without taking damage?
And sometimes it's hard to do that consistently if you don't have the assist.
There's 2 photographers that come out here. He killed them behind the scenes.
That tripod is also a very deadly weapon.
1 second.
And
It
then
kills
he's gonna try to go.
kills a very large man in a few hits.
Yeah, he's gonna try to go for a quick hit, quick kill, which is 3 hits, and then there you go. But basically, the main thing with this game is when you kill enemies on the ground, it causes the end of the stage transitions to be a lot faster, so you don't have to wait as long for it to exit out of the stage and move on. That's going to be a really big strat in boss rush as well, because that allows you to progress the KO screen into the next fight without letting the timer just run on needlessly.
So stage 3 is the stage, or the Leo's Club, as everyone might know it as. For people who are familiar with it, it has arguably the most enemies kind of clumped together. And what this stage is going to show off is what I would like to call trigger manipulation, or go trigger manipulation. And what that means is that each stage, or any beat 'em up game for that matter, has in order for you to progress to the next screen, you have to kill a certain set of enemies. And what that'll do is it'll say go, and you can go to the next screen. But because out of bounds is a thing, with this stage, I'm out of bounding into the shop and coming out and basically skipping the first few set of mobs and carrying the crowd that comes in with me. And what that's going to do is that's going to, well, you'll see here in a second.
It's very cool to watch.
It's similar to what the original strats for stage 1 used to be, because we used to not actually skip from the very beginning of the stage. We used to get about a quarter of the way through the stage, and then to the park, what would normally be like the park scene from the movie and books, and we would continue from there to try to find one of the shops, because they were a little bit closer to get into, and that would still allow you to skip everything else from before that. So that can apply to any stage that has any kind of shop in it, because a main part of this game's normal progression system is your levels don't actually improve your stats. Your levels give you abilities. The stats are gained by going into shops and buying different items that are both food related, accessory related, and eventually it can max out your stats through that. But if you are looking to speedrun the game, you can actually max out your stats in the first stage of the game within about 20 minutes.
So that was
it requires getting a lot of gold.
So that was the first chunk of the stage skip. So now, as you can see, everything has been skipped and basically hasn't spawned. So now we're going into one of the first boss fights, or the mini boss fights in this, with Lynette and Envy. You probably also noticed that I'm moving during a cutscene that I shouldn't, which I'll explain that in a second. But this kill is actually discovered by myself and Bylair during co-op. And there you go. That's that fight. Typically with this fight, before the movement glitch was discovered, you would actually punch Lynette 3 times, I think it was. And since we were able to discover this, it's actually faster to kill Envy pretty much immediately. So
Also, this game has a lot of glitches where, the game will crash on you if you do the wrong thing, and yeah.
This version of the game is a lot glitchier than the original. We don't know how they managed to do that, but the port is glitchier, but for the sake of speedrunning, it definitely improved the game for us.
Oh, big time.
And so basically with item displacement, it allows you to move around in cutscenes by basically, if you're standing on any kind of object, any object at all that has a hitbox to stand on top of, when the cutscenes trigger, since your character's not locked onto the ground, you can set yourself up to start hitting the enemy immediately rather than starting away from where the game would normally start you. And this fight's not too bad as long as you can trigger his vegan attack by doing a certain amount of damage at the beginning of the fight. It's easy to dodge it and then just beat on him while he's weak and beaten down.
Milk and eggs.
Good old milk and eggs.
Just gotta take
I
him
would
out
say
alive.
the other word, but I can't.
So yeah, so this stage was one of the first introductions to trigger manipulation with the crowd, which was accidentally discovered by myself because I figured I did a run one day and I was like, wow, I just skipped the entire crowd. How did I do that? So upon further review, I found out that the crowd was carryable. Ooh, really hyper. Sorry, I got more excited for that than I should have.
Yeah, so that's another interesting thing about part of this game is at the beginning of every stage, each stage behaves a little bit differently, but for the most part with Ramona, you can try to get her assist off before the stage actually starts, allowing her to start each stage in hyper. But there is other stages, like one that's coming up soon, where you can actually change where you spawn at the very beginning of the level, helping skip a few seconds that are pretty nice to save at the beginning of that stage every time. But this is going to be one of the most obnoxious stages for sure, because we have enemies that can damage you on hit, even though they die in one hit. Really aggressive AI that can also break through blocks. So it's just definitely one of the more aggressive stages for the AI to beat on you with, because they also come in big mobs as well.
These guys are called bullies.
You just gotta learn
right?
to take them out.
Pretty much.
And with the baseball
The ones
bats.
with the toque on their heads
And the
are
swords.
probably the worst.
And items are easily one of the best tools in this game, because with the hyper mode combined, you get a lot of fast hits in. They do a lot of damage for most of the even slightly large items like bats, tripod, trash can.
You have to get your character to like level 5 or 6 in order to use weapons effectively.
So this usually happens during Ken's runs, where there's an enemy that's stuck on the outer walls. It usually
That's
is a run
always the
killer.
worst.
Ha! Prick!
There he
There he
is.
is.
Yeah, that's one of
Enemies-
the really bad
enemies
glitches
can
that can harm
exist
speedrun.
outside of the boundaries.
Yeah, it does that. a
And
lot.
how it normally occurs is if you accidentally hit an enemy before they enter the screen. That's one common cause for it, but sometimes they just legitimately do not like to walk on screen.
A little funny movement glitch here.
Yeah, another displacement glitch.
In this
And
next
so that's
section,
gonna be
the
our-
swords are important.
Yeah, another item that's super useful because the enemies don't block against it very typically.
Okay, one sec, guys. I need a little bit of a moment of silence here for. So anyone that's ever played this game knows that the restaurant is arguably one of the longer stages. This just skips the whole thing altogether. Sorry, you guys can talk now. I just needed that moment
And
there.
there's usually guys on fire that attack you, and they're awful. They're so awful.
And for people who are learning the game, we do have categories in the extensions that don't use the out of bounds glitches for just learning the game. But it definitely teaches you how aggressive some of the enemies can just be and how much they can kill runs when you do have to deal with them.
Quickly, guys, should I pull out the katana?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pull out the katana for me.
Every time. The katana's the best.
This specific screen is another one where the enemies like to get stuck off screen and can kill
Yes.
runs.
Yeah, there's the
Guardian
AI
is
is
one
a
of the worst.
little janky in this game.
So
Sorry, holy games.
yeah,
I'm
no,
just
you're
trying
good.
to-
This,
Oh, come on, one more. Give me the sword. You know what?
Oh
Whatever.
man, you got bricked.
I got bricked.
I'm surprised you didn't go for
Sometimes
trash.
with
So
No,
Ramona has a special that she can pull items out of her bag that are within the stage. You can actually pull the katana out, and yeah, the marathon.
That's
yeah.
the bad RNG.
Normally he can get another hit on her and kill her. But...
And of course, a speedrun isn't a speedrun until
Hit the cat. Hit the cat.
Glitch tiles?
are those
What
glitch
glitch
tiles
tiles?
appearing because of the oob tricks? There's no, because the subspace highways are glitched to begin with in this game, so it's just kind of what it looks really weird. I know.
The movies make the subspace highway seem more fantasy and deserty, while the games and books show them to be a little bit more like glitches in the system.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But it's kind of fitting though when you think about it, because
No
once you go out of
backtrack.
bounds and break the game, there is actually there's two different versions of the final boss fight that can happen, and I'm gonna show off the funny one. So that's I missed it. Oh,
You did not invent that
You
shit.
So
almost got
this
the
is what I was mentioning earlier with displacing yourself at the beginning of the stage. Normally, you can start yourself right in front of this subspace door. As I was mentioning from stage 1, there's 2 subspace doors in every stage at the minimum, with one of them being to get you extra money and can just spawn a bunch of pigs, and the other one leads to a boss fight. Each one is going to have a different theme in it, but this one skips almost all of the party to get you straight to where you go outside to the apartments. You have to deal with this, I guess, I don't want to call it an auto-scroller, but you have to wait for those balls to auto-scroll by. You can't do anything about them.
Then you gotta take out these guys.
yes.
And
Grab
then
the hockey stick
another
and take out
trigger.
the robot.
This is our first boss of this stage. He later is a normal common enemy in the last stage of the game, but for
Hardest
the
boss in the
games-
game. Hardest boss in
easily.
the game. Look at
When
that.
he shows up in hordes, he's evil.
Did you see how
but-
hard that was?
Yeah, and then it's going to take us straight to the next part of this stage. And each stage is split up into basically 2 sections, with one being the beginning, where you're going to deal with more fighting casually if you're playing it, and then the second one leading up to the boss with more items.
Probably one of the easiest.
Go up
skips
the
to
fire
do.
escape.
No stairs, please.
But-
No stairs, please. Don't give me
Yeah.
Stairs
that.
are very, very
Yeah.
glitchy,
Yeah.
and if you're not careful going up them, you'll fall
All
all
right.
the way down and lose
That was good.
so much time.
Okay.
That was very lucky.
clapless. Here's hoping the shotgun goes through.
Dude, the
Yeah, I'm
early
gonna
kill.
give you a second. So there is an early kill for Super Fighting Robot that was discovered. It was Ouija, right?
Bilayer.
Oh, it was Bylayer that got
Yeah.
this first? Okay. So what he's trying to accomplish is there's a mechanic in the game
Oh.
called rebound. And rebound can happen to both the player and enemies. And when a player rebounds,
No, you missed
based
it.
on the speed that they're going,
He got one hand. Nah.
based on the speed that the character's moving, they do damage to enemies when they collide with them. This can result in really quick kills in certain bosses, including on this boss, where you can take out both hands and skip all of its phases that you normally can't damage it in. That's one of the easiest ones to deal with. It's just the single laser. But the worst one that we used to get when we didn't have this strat is where it basically launches a bunch of missiles at you. But even in the original game, the missiles would get displaced into spots where they couldn't land and explode. So you'd have to wait for the game to naturally dissolve them, and that wasted a lot of pointless time.
Man, I'm just ripping this fight totally. There we
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh my god.
But
Hit it. Hit it.
and then with the category that
There.
I run
There we
Yeah.
go.
got it. Jeez, sorry guys.
You gotta take
So-
your damage and put it on the fist.
So the next fight coming up with the twins is actually a quick kill in itself. But what I was trying to I missed the early hyper there. So what was happening there was if the right hand comes down, if RNG wants to be nice about it, what ends up happening is you get what's called a shotgun kill, and you get hit by one of the hands, and basically, oh nice, that was cool. Never seen that happen before. And basically it rockets you between both the screens, and it pretty much instant kills both of them, saving a really big handful of time.
so much time. It's
Oh, yeah.
upwards to 20 to 30 seconds, depending on how many phases he gets through.
Oh no, I lost hyper. Oh!
Oh, no.
So this
It's
stage,
hard
this
getting through
stage
this
is one
section
of the
without
few.
touching the spikes.
Yeah, this is one of the few times where we don't have any clips to skip through because the bottom of the stage is covered by spikes, and so we can't really hop through the boundary to skip the stage. But the nice thing
It's
about this
mean.
stage is when we come up on the bosses, which is the twins, for some reason the game lets you freely move, and they have an active hitbox and health box before the fight even begins. So you can do what's called a pummel, where you grab them and repeatedly punch them, and you can knock them out before the fight even begins, resulting in a faster KO screen.
This game's mechanisms are so baffling.
Yeah, and
The
that's
enemies
not even like a
exist
special.
before you can fight
That's
them.
not
It's
even
so
a
weird.
special trick or nothing. That like any common person playing the game can actually do it. They just didn't program it right.
Like if you're mashing buttons, you'll discover it by accident. It's very easy.
No, I wanted to
but
grab
yeah.
that.
That's the
Take
big
out
thing
the
about
statue.
robot
All
hands.
right, give
and
me
why-
give me 2
What are you
seconds.
do?
I just need a couple seconds because I got to hear if I'm actually grabbing the punch because it's been really glitchy lately.
Yeah.
All right, we got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say about co-op runs, that's what's fun about co-op runs and learning it with other people. There's a lot of fun co-op strats for the bosses where you can basically annihilate
There
them
you go.
as
Early kill.
Yeah, perfect. As the game, when you're playing with other players, whether it's 2, 3, or 4, you get what's called the band attack, is what we just call it, where basically when all players
Oh,
taunt at once,
the
you
music.
summon a big behemoth.
The music.
Oh,
Hold
yeah,
on 1
the
second.
music
So,
overlap.
on quick kills, you're gonna hear garbled music in a second here.
Yeah, the different music tracks mixed together.
They don't
It's
cut.
confusing.
Your
So
guys,
before
come on.
I go into 6, I've got a few seconds here. This is the one stage that I have to focus on, but it's got a ton of trigger manipulation that happens. So, pardon me if I'm a little bit quiet. Oh, there's Chow. So
You guys also like the
First
music
boss
of
in
this
the
game.
game.
You guys should check out Anamanaguchi. He's fantastic.
they are.
They are.
Yeah,
Yes.
say. So yeah, basically with this stage, the main things he has to worry about is going to be what he was referring to earlier, where you have to kill certain enemies on a screen to be able to progress the ghost sections. Because unfortunately, we can't skip all of this stage like we could earlier with most of the other stages.
Gotta kill certain enemies.
So that's going to be the first cut. He goes into what's called the secret shop, which is where you actually get the special abilities for characters that are... Some of them are very important to the characters' runs. Everybody does runs with different characters. The game is very fun to play each character with. Ramona is just the fastest, hands down. But overall, every character is fun to play for one reason or another, and they're all pretty run viable for runs within a good time. It's just the two main characters that overrun the boards are going to be Ramona and the boss of this stage, who's a secret character, Negascott. Negascott gets in just because he has a ridiculous amount of physical strength, and he can just beat the crap out of enemies like it's no one's business. But Ramona can run the stages like it's no one's business.
Oh no!
We're good.
And so that's actually going to be the main part about Out of Bounds glitch that we discovered when we first discovered Out of Bounds and how it works in this game. It was myself and another runner named Tracy, who doesn't run the game anymore, who basically figured out the main rules of how Out of Bounds glitch works in this game. When you're out of bounds,
Hold on a
you
second.
basically have...
He's got it. You gotta grab the zombie and then kill it.
So the
and
reason
allow him
why
to
we
get
were
to the next
freaking
screen.
out in the beginning was because he needed to keep the bird alive to be able to continue forward. Thankfully, there was another bird.
All right, we're good.
And then he falls into the pit, kills the zombie so he can go to the next screen already. Without
Okay.
having to
And
kill
here's
the other
what?
20 zombies that are required to skip that screen. It's really cool.
Sorry to
here's
interrupt
gonna
you
be
guys so
Negascott.
much. My apologies.
This fight can be tricky sometimes because Negascott actually has a good fighting AI. He has that kick, which is really fast. It comes out immediately. And then, unlike when you play him in the
Bam him into the wall.
actual
Yeah,
playable character, he
No!
also has an instant
Oh.
fireball he can throw out.
Ken was able to keep him into a corner for a little bit to kill
But
him
for all
quicker.
intents and purposes,
Yeah,
his
that was
boss
pretty
is a
fast.
normal character.
So now that I have a very large amount of time to talk about this, what you guys just saw was the go trigger manipulation. Because I skipped the first 3 screens of the stage, all of those enemies came to that one screen and spawned accordingly. Every single one of those packs was able to basically, once they're dead, they'll trigger on a different screen. So the birds that you see unknowingly fly around there they're carryable triggers, as I like to call them. But if they die, kind of kills the whole stage. So once they get behind the gate, they die immediately because they're actually not supposed to be there. And then each screen after that is just that trigger dying on the screen that it shouldn't be dying on. And now to the final stage.
That was a great stage fight. Or
That
I
yeah,
just said
that
fight.
that
It's
was
six.
that was a nice,
pretty good.
Clean six.
Stage six is what would easily be considered the most technical stage in the game, just because of what you have to do to be able to get through it so fast, like he did, and he did do it like it was nothing.
And now the elevator skip.
And a good Nega Scott. That was a great Nega Scott as well, because Nega Scott can really be obnoxious. He can just get up and instant hit you with his kick. He has a fireball that can come out instantaneously. It can be a pain.
So what you're about to see here
Watch
is
this.
Ken trying to jump
He's
out
about
of
to skip
bounds.
the whole elevator.
Yeah.
I need silence. Hold up.
Demons is the one that figured this out, so we'll
Rack.
let her explain it.
There we go.
Not the one who figured it out, but I did help to make it. a
What
lot
elevator?
shorter.
We're at the boss
usually
fight.
takes like 5 minutes to do.
Yeah.
It's this elevator skip was discovered by myself and a few other runners, and it saves 2.5 minutes.
The timer's still going though, which is funny.
No.
Yeah. So what happens is the reason why the timer is still there is because technically you're not supposed to be in the boss fight yet. And once the timer goes down, it'll actually either soft lock the game or it will send you back into the room. It's weird. Because the room
Whatever.
explodes.
And that was an amazing kill on the first phase of Gideon. That was amazing.
Alrighty, on to the part 2. So yeah, after I took the world record in NG Plus back in March, we decided to fiddle around with the game like most speedrunners would, and myself, Ouija Spider, and Bylayer spent about 3.5 hours because we discovered that you can actually out of bounds on the elevator and smash the glass door that goes into Gideon's room. So after much working with it myself, Ouija Spider, Bylayer, and then taken to Demons shortly thereafter, came in, and we basically shortened that stage from 2.5 minutes to, I think, 15 seconds.
It's beautiful.
So, and
one of the best skips in the whole game.
I also discovered that you can do it in any percent as well.
yes.
This is the second phase of Gideon. You hit him with a sword. That's it.
If you're not
for
lined
anybody-
up like properly right here,
If you stand in the
though,
perfect spot, you can
because-
just cheese him. Watch.
Yeah, if you're in the wrong spot though, it's a nightmare.
I think this is a 1 round.
That's a good spot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The
One
sword
rounder.
is
Nice.
evil.
The sword
Alright,
is great,
so-
especially in this category.
So now we're on to the final stage in the techno base, and there was a skip discovered by myself and Paul Knives back a while ago by using the shop in this level to kind of
Break the level.
break the level and make the fight soloable. But because we're in a marathon, I would like to show you guys what the OG skip of this stage used to do. I don't know if the developers intended for this to be something that happens.
No
but
way.
The OG skip of this game, or of this level in particular, puts you into Gideon's room immediately with every single enemy in the game, and really shows off its glitchiness.
It's chaos.
This is the PC version of the game.
Yeah, sorry.
A nice way to end the run.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
I don't go into the shop, which could accidentally happen.
Hopefully
But
you get to the
realistically,
shop.
every version of the game is usable for speed runs.
Except for the
It's
OG.
just
The OG actually lacks a few of the skips that you can do in the complete edition.
But that has its own speed run board as well.
Come on, did I miss it?
Also, for anybody who has played the older version of this game, you will notice that Stage 7 gives you a wrench, and this one doesn't. I don't know why, and it sucks.
The wrench
I think I'm
is
stuck on
the
an
best
enemy.
weapon in the entire game, straight up. It's at the top
Yeah,
of the list.
The wrench is actually very
The
helpful.
wrench is very
with
effective
great
against
control.
robots.
Oh, there we go. Oh, here you go. OG indeed.
Awesome.
Look
So
at all
here's-
of them. Look
so
at
here-
all the robots. Look
This-
at all the robots.
And so we
It's
are going to
the
be going
robot
up on time
apocalypse.
after this fight. the end of this fight is not going to be time, but time will be in a cutscene right after this where you punch Gideon once.
So many robots, so little time.
So as
Now,
you can see, this was
that-
very chaotic.
Now, an interesting fact too is back when we were doing the OG years ago. Originally,
I can't
time
move.
was not on that cutscene hit. It was actually on the final input that you put in your controller. But since so many people didn't really care for that, as a community we came together and decided that it would probably be easier for everyone just to do it on that final hit on Gideon.
That was a good decision.
Plus, it's when you lose control of your character completely.
Except for that last menu, but yeah. I guess, yeah, you're not in control of the character at that point.
All right, now that I can
see
take
the
on
result
the
screen menu.
boss.
Yeah, right. The result screen. So this fight, when you're in solo, there's a couple of good ways to do damage to him. Because he can counter you with a revenge value. He's one of the few enemies that does have a revenge value for hits. But you can stun lock him by just throwing him around. You can do the pummel attack that I mentioned earlier, where you can just hold him in place and repeatedly hit them. Counters are also good if you're good at timing them, but that is a press it when they hit you.
If you
I don't know
have
if
the
we have the
wrench,
actual
that's a
frame.
good way to fight him too. If you have the wrench. I wish the wrench was still here, man.
The wrench is
Yeah.
kind of like a meme, honestly. It's great.
The legendary wrench.
And
So
that's
So
time is coming up.
legendary.
So time is
Because
coming
they had
up
to
on the
patch it
final
out.
hit of him when he explodes. But before that
you
all
punch
happens,
him.
we have this lovely cutscene here and everything. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Dino for allowing me to show off this wonderful, lovely game. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy I got to show this off. I've been looking forward to this all month. And it is time. And there you go.
It's over. He's dead.
And we take all the toonies. All
And
the toonies.
loonies.
No, we want toonies.
And quatas.
So that's the
And
run.
if you're
That is Scott
if you're
Pilgrim
like
versus
me-
the world.
if you're like me in OCD, you always try to line your shadow up on that center of the target, and it never works.
I wish it was the same size.
Thank you guys very much for that. I was kind of unsure if I wanted to do like the cool strat at the end, but I figured the OG is always good fun to show that you can just still get your ass kicked when you're standing there waiting for the fight to start.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything. Thank you very, very much for having me. I can't wait to see what the next run is super hype. I've been looking forward to the blindfolded Pokemon run, so this is I'm extremely excited for this. So
And then we also do have an active Discord where we've posted all of these strats, all of the ways to do them and all of that, as well as on the speedrun.com board. So if you would like to join that, feel free to come by and we'll always be glad to help out. Co-op runs are something we love to do as well, as it's just a good time for everybody to get together and play the game.
yeah, of course. I'm still actively running it. Unfortunately, Dread has taken up most of my time for speed running, but I'm still very active in the Discord, as are the mods, as are all the runners. So if you guys are interested, we have the Discord. I don't think we have the link available at the very moment, but feel free. Come on in and join us and have some fun, and yeah.
That was a good
There we
run.
go.
That was a
Thank
good run, Ken.
Thank you. Yeah.